Right now, in this world, there's no direct announced, but I'm convinced there's going to be, just like Necrophilippe, Brazil, and Nate Drake. By the time you watch this video, the direct may already be announced, so we're just ahead of the game. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button if you're pumped for Nintendo to do an August show, something they don't typically do unless it's an indie world. We're getting a direct, and I'm going to give you my predictions. I was thinking about whether this would be a mini direct or a full general direct, and honestly, my guesses are just about the same, because I think no matter how you slice it, this isn't going to be an earth-shattering direct. We know that the Switch 2 is around the corner, and the biggest games are being saved for that. This won't be one of those directs where they announce the next Smash Bros, the next Animal Crossing, the next Mario Kart. It's more of a recap direct and then filling in the gaps type direct. And honestly, I think Nintendo can accomplish that with either a mini or a general. So my predictions apply to both. Make sure to let me know your top predictions in the comments down below. What is one game you think is guaranteed to be there? I'm going to get those right out of the way. Super Mario Party Jamboree needs a new trailer. It has one trailer. The game is out in 2 months, and it's going to be playable in just a few days at PAX West. They've got to show more of what makes this game special. We know it has a huge slate of minigames, a bunch of different characters, and some cool online modes. Why else is this the Mario Party to get? Because at this point, there could be many Switch players who have 1 or 2 Mario Parties. Why do you need the third Mario Party? Nintendo will absolutely deliver an extended trailer showcasing why this game is unique. Now, I also think Mario & Luigi Brothership is guaranteed to get a second trailer as well, kind of along the same lines, helping to show why this game is unique and why after playing, Mario RPG and Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, why should you get a third Mario RPG within the last 12 months? Honestly, I think this has a chance to be the most exciting, maybe not the best. Thousand Year Door is tough to beat, but given that this game is brand new and we kind of thought the Alpha Dream stuff was done, this is really nifty. Brothership could have some interesting mechanics as well, combining Mario and Luigi, and who knows what other characters might show up in the background. Keep your eyes peeled for them. Now here's where the direct could shift in multiple different directions, and we will know based on if there is a GameCube announcement for retail or for online. I think everyone's emphasis right now is on are GameCube games and Switch Online going to be getting a major upgrade. And here is where the direct could really peel off in 2 different directions. Either we get a huge GameCube NSO update, which is going to bring games like Wind Waker to Nintendo Switch, but online, which honestly sounds like a savings to me. You get the expansion pack for $50 and you get access to all of it. Or they go the other direction, which is to start selling us GameCube games, in which I think we'd see Metroid Prime 2 Echoes be announced as a shadow drop. All of this to say, GameCube is going to factor in this direct in some capacity. Will it be F-Zero GX getting a remastered version and Metroid Prime 2 Echoes getting a shadow drop? Or will it be all of these games eventually appearing on Nintendo Switch Online? I am really torn 50-50. And the better sense in me says that Nintendo would not give up the opportunity to sell us GameCube games and instead put them on Switch Online for a much smaller cost. Yet, I think online has become a really lucrative proposition for Nintendo this generation. And I think one thing they could do, and they know it, to cement online as a success for the Switch and as something you need to subscribe to going forward, is to jolt the online service with GameCube. I'm going to predict that Nintendo does announce GameCube for Nintendo Switch Online, but we're not going to get like 10 games all at once. I think they're going to start with 3. Honestly, I think they start with Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. I think they start with Zelda Wind Waker, and I think they start with Luigi's Mansion 1. I think it's a pretty good slate, but it allows them so much room to grow, and GameCube games are probably going to be as rare or even rarer than GBA titles. We've been pretty lucky to get some heavy hitters on the GBA side, but given the scope and size of that library, they are going slow. I think they go even slower with GameCube, but alas, you don't have to buy these games for $50-$60 a pop. So from that standpoint, I think it is a success. Now, if they do go the other route, like I said, Echoes gets a shadow drop, F-Zero GX gets announced, and we don't hear from Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, that's my prediction on kind of that split. If GameCube is not part of Switch Online, I still think we get a substantial roadmap update, maybe some new N64 games, hopefully some new cool GBA games, and possibly something for the mature rated app as well. Now, in terms of third-party stuff, we've seen My Sims pop up on retailers and on EA's website, so that is a lock in my opinion. Tales of Xillia Remastered, or is it Tales of Zestria? Tales of Xillia? I think it's Tales of Xillia Remastered is the one that's been popping up. So many Tales games, not many of them on Switch. I mean, we do have Vesperia, and we do have Symphonia. It would be good to get another one. I think these are quality games, and I'd like to play them, although there are newer Tales games that I wish would just come to Switch, but we'll have to wait for Switch 2 in that regard. In terms of other third-party things, could Dying Light 2 finally return? The fact that they're developing Dying Light the Beast, which is sort of this standalone Dying Light 2 game, indicates to me that maybe they are interested in trying to flesh out this franchise and bring it more places. Could they bring sort of an Ultimate Edition to Switch before they release this new one, and then the new one could come out on Switch or Switch 2? Maybe it's doubtful, but hey, it would be a blast from the past and something that could come third-party wise. Probably get a trailer for Harry Potter Quidditch and maybe a new release date, since that thing was delayed on Switch only. But I think the big third-party / indie want would be Hollow Knight Silksong. And I'm going to go and predict, I flip-flopped on this night after night, I think it shows up. I think the fact that we are completely in the dark, and the fact that it did not pop at Gamescom, and the fact that Keighley had to say it was not going to show up at Gamescom, to me indicates that it's because he knew they had a deal with Nintendo. Team Cherry is well at work on the game. It is going to come out, despite the funnies of saying, like, maybe this game is vaporware. It's going to release. And I think this is where it shows up. See, this is why Nintendo doesn't need a ton of new first-party stuff. They've got big first-party games to highlight, they've got a huge online update to make, and Hollow Knight Silksong can basically function as one of the big things of the Direct, no matter which way you slice it. Hollow Knight Silksong gets a release date trailer for Nintendo Switch, and it's out this November, figuring to be a big release in an otherwise kind of slow Black Friday season. November is pretty slight for most platforms, and I think that allows Team Cherry the opportunity to get out there and have a big hit. Or they could just have it come out next month, and that would be even sicker, but hey, after all this time, what's a few more weeks to wait? Now, on the first party front, I do think Nintendo will have one new announcement, maybe two. I could see Nintendo doing a Pokemon game for this year. Yes, I know it's crazy. Maybe I'm just too dreamy on this, but there still is not that big Black Friday week game for Nintendo, and I think Pokemon has been sleeping for quite some time. Now, we did not see this mentioned at the Pokemon World Championships, and in a way that makes me think it's more likely to show up here because it's something that would be saved. Maybe I'm crazy. Like I said, Pokemon could just be Snorlax sleeping until ZA drops, but we know that they are going to be releasing the Pokemon Pocket app in late October. Wouldn't it be great to follow it up with either a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game in November or a Pokken Tournament 2 in November? Either of those would be great sellers, either of those would be pretty darn cool, and either of those would cement themselves as the best version of that franchise on Nintendo Switch, which they kind of have not done thus far, given that we've got ports and ports. Nothing brand new from either franchise. Now, I think there's something else that Nintendo will announce here, and it's probably going to be for early 2025. I don't think there's room for this to fit in 2024, but boy oh boy is it time for Kirby. You might remember that we saw leaks of a Kirby space game, some interesting screenshots that did kind of look like Star Allies, but at the same time did look different, and there was some detail there about Kirby and his new power-ups as he makes his way out to the galaxy. Now, this would not be a follow-up to Kirby in the Forbidden Land, instead a follow-up to Kirby Star Allies, and would be a 2D traditional-style Kirby game, but Nintendo loves to pop out Kirby games, and I don't think the 3D series is done. I think it's just going to be on a longer development cycle. Like, the 2D traditional Kirby will be more of the annualized release, and then the 3D Kirby will get more of the love. Now, if it's not that space one, it could be the Wii U game, which I thought was really, really good, but because we've seen these space screenshots in this leak, I think that thing is coming quite soon, and I think that would be another cool announcement for Nintendo to make that feels fitting for a second half of the year Direct. Will we see more of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond? I do think we will. I think we get the second trailer for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and again, this is another reason why Nintendo does not need to litter this Direct with new announcements, because their updates are quite exciting. Everybody is eager to see what more lays beyond the initial trailer for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, what gives it that Beyond factor, and I think this is where we find out. Thus far, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond looked really pretty, but it looked very much like the old Metroid Primes. There's obviously going to be some upgrades and some new ideas that make this mechanically a more modernized adventure, and I'm looking forward to Nintendo highlighting exactly what it is. If there is a GameCube NSO, boom, Echoes is out on GameCube NSO. If there is not a GameCube NSO, boom, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is shadow dropping on the eShop. I think we're playing Metroid Prime 2 this week regardless, which is pretty darn great, but most importantly, I think we might get... Well, I don't think we'll get a release date for Metroid Prime 4. I think that's got to be saved for after the Switch 2 launch date, because I don't think they want you to know. I really don't think they want you to know yet if this is going to be something that's cross-gen, or just on Switch 2, or just on Switch 1, or how they're going to release it staggered. That seems to be my bet right now, like it comes out first on Switch, and then on Switch 2, but I think Nintendo saves all of that for a later date. Now, is there any mention of a new console? No. No mention of a new console, just good old Nintendo Switch 1 stuff. Maybe Nintendo did move this up to August because they're getting ready and gearing up to announce the Switch 2 as it enters full production. Maybe Nintendo moved this up because they wanted to get the trailers out before PAX West and the playable versions of games like Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and Super Mario Party Jamboree. Maybe Nintendo moved this up because they just wanted to have the Direct in August because, I don't know, Furukawa was taking a vacation in September. I have no idea. We will probably figure out why they moved this up within a month or so, and that will be evident if there is an indie world that has a specific game tied to it, if there is a, say, Switch 2 reveal that happens in October, they wanted to create more gap between Switch 1 stuff and Switch 2 stuff, or if nothing else happens and then Nintendo just decided to do this because they're quirky and they're Nintendo. I'll end with a wild card prediction because I think that's always fun, and even though I think this will be a very safe Direct, GameCube NSO aside, like that's not safe from Nintendo, but it's safe to predict. Let's give you one kind of wild and crazy prediction that is unlikely to happen, but I would love for it to happen, and I think still has like a morsel of a shot. I've been predicting Donkey Kong forever now, and I don't think that that is going to get a new release. We've got Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, which is going to take up the DK slot for a bit now. The next game probably is not coming out until the next platform and maybe a few years down the line, but let's go in a different direction. Predictions for the last Direct did not cover all the titles, so even though no one's talking about this right now, I'm going to say a new Star Fox game for early 2025. With the Switch 2 releasing at the absolute earliest in April, I think they're going to need some interesting things to tide over the audience until then. Yeah, we're getting Donkey Kong, we'll probably get a Kirby, but something new could fit as well. I don't think Star Fox is something that they're eyeing for a early first year release on Switch 2. Instead, I feel like it's let's throw it out there at the end of the Switch life cycle and hope it can get sales. This might be the last hurrah for Star Fox, but that's my last big kind of pie in the sky prediction. Star Fox returns in a 3D kind of open world Dinosaur Planet pseudo sequel on Switch next March with a early 2025 release window. What do you think about that? Let me know your predictions in the comments down below. I think this is a chance to be a super solid Direct. If we got GameCube, Hollow Knight, and updates, that's pretty cool. Like, do we need a bunch of new games knowing that the Switch 2 is around the corner? That's going to bring the heat in terms of the Marios and the Mario Karts and the big things. So give me 1 or 2 sick announcements and some things we can play super soon. I'm all on board. I think this is going to be the definition of a really strong B+ Direct, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Of course, we'll be live streaming the heck out of the thing, and I'd love to hear your predictions in the comments down below. Until next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.